It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
A beautiful day for a neighbor.
What's happening, Coach? Before we jump into, I gotta start you off right.
This is Bernard Clark Jr., head football coach at Robert Morris University, and you're on the air with Pitch and Push.
uh,
Through the
yes,
eye of the
sir.
tiger, it's Pitts and Coach Clark Jr. is going down this Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Everywhere, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Pitch. How are you, my man?
I'm hanging, man. I can't wait. Headed for a much needed mini vacation, but I'm 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 ready for some football, man.
I hear you. I won't see you this weekend, so happy Father's Day to you. Hope you
Hap-
enjoy yourself.
yes, Coach. Happy Father's Day to you as well, and happy Father's Day to all those other father figures. Whether you're a biological father, stepfather, a coach, mentor, uncle, whatever it is, the impact that you make on whichever young child's life is impactful beyond measure. So don't ever think it's not. Don't ever limit your impact. Keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you.
100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Father figures and everyone else.
Hey, through the eye of the tiger.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, how was your week, my man?
Ah man, the week actually it's been good. I got I had a nephew that graduated, so I was back home in Pittsburgh. Shout out to Eric McGuire.
Thanks for looking at me.
Still
Thanks for hitting me up. Appreciate
still rocks. So look, Coach, you wanna know what's funny?
it.
Because my cousins they said the same thing. I came in Thursday night, right?
hmm
Graduation was Friday night.
Gotcha.
I was out Saturday morning by like 9 o'clock in the morning,
No,
like
no frets. No
in and
problem
out.
at all.
But trust and believe. I definitely when I touch down, I always gotta make sure I come be able to check you out, man. And that was more just I knew it was gonna be a quick turnaround, but I look forward to everything that is going to be brewing this year. I don't know why, Coach. Yeah, I just think this year is gonna be a dynamic year,
You
man.
know, I feel the same way. And I was speaking with the AD yesterday. Him and I were having a conversation, and I was saying to him, I'm excited about us coming in this year. We got our guys here this summer. They're busting their behinds. They're getting after it. I feel real great about the things that are going to happen with our football team. I just think the competitiveness is going to go to another level. We've
Yeah.
gotten some much signed guys that we need. Got a little more speed in the backfield.
Okay.
We got some other things that we're looking at. Still looking at some receivers and some defensive linemen and some offensive linemen, but things are coming together well. We got a good group of linebackers. We got a senior linebacker, Jamar Shagog. Jamar's been with us since 2019. Thank you, COVID. Appreciate it because he's a much needed leader that we have on this team. So I'm just like you. I'm excited about this season also.
It looked like you picked up another linebacker recently in Keon Freeman, or I seen it was reported recently. Talk to us
Yes,
about that gentleman.
he was a young man. He was at Charleston, and he jumped into the portal, and he went to Youngstown. He played a lot for Youngstown, but he felt like he wanted to play a little bit more, get on the field a little bit more. We have one of his former teammates here, Tiz Mohammed, and him and Tiz are good friends, and so he decided to join us. And we think it's a good addition to our linebacker core. The young man gets downhill, he hits, he has good vision. You know, he wears he wears number 52 because his favorite player is, Ray Lewis. So it's one of those situations. So I'm gonna try to get him that number. I always tell guys my motto, because you know how young guys come in, especially high school guys. Coach, can I get this number? Can I get that number? My
Yeah.
motto when it comes to numbers is this: did they retire your high school number? If they didn't retire your high school number, don't come in here asking for it. So that's how I see things when it comes to numbers. So, but I'm excited about the young linebacker coming in. Well, I should say the grad linebacker coming in.
Is that a thing? Like when players are transferring, is that how you see it in the NFL? Players go, they want their number. Is that a trend when players are transferring from other universities? Is that something that is a frequently asked question?
Well, it's not just universities; it's high schools also. It's guys that are coming
Hmm.
from high school asking for certain numbers and stuff like. I don't get it with the whole number thing. I always tell my guys, all I know is this: Michael Irvin won number 47 as a wide receiver at the University of Miami, was an All American. So I don't know if the number really makes the man, but I guess some guys are so tied up in numbers that it's important to them. But like I said, if you come here, if your number was retired in high school, you'll get it here at Robert Morris University. If it wasn't, then you'll get the number we give you. So, yeah.
Coach, I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things. We talk about student athletes a lot, right? And we
Yes,
talk about the athlete, and we often highlight the student.
yes,
But I definitely wanted to. I'm gonna share my screen. I wanted to bring this up, man. Like this is a tremendous feat that your team has been able to accomplish. Like,
absolutely.
can you share a little bit more what that feels like? What does that mean to you? How do you feel as the coach when you see that the hard work, the discipline, the instruction, and attention to detail not only carries from the football field but also to the classroom?
Well, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and one of my favorite coaches, if not one of my favorite people, were on there. His name's Tony Dungy, Tony Dungy, coach with the Bucks and the coach with Indianapolis Colts, and great defensive coordinator for the Steelers, and so on and so forth. And he made a statement that Chuck Noll told him the job of an assistant coach, the job of a coach, is to make a player better.
Hmm.
And that's better at every aspect. And that's what I tell our coaches all the time. We're not just talking about, when we talk about better men, better husbands, and better fathers, we mean better, period. On the
Yes.
football field, off the football field. And when I see that our team, because it's tough, man, when you got 100 guys, actually 100 plus guys on your football team, and those guys are maintaining the 3.0, that speaks volumes of our guys, the importance of them in the classroom. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, Pitt, since I've been here, we've only had one semester where it wasn't a 3.0, and it was a 2.98. So
Hmm.
it was one of those situations where our guys make it a point when I say, hey, guys, got another 3.0 this past semester. They go crazy about it because they're excited about the fact that they're focusing not only on the football field, but also in the classroom. And it's a very rare thing for an entire football team to maintain the 3.0 GPA. And this is my sixth season going. And like I said, we've had one semester where we were a 2.98. But other than that, we've been above a 3.0. So it's a great assessment to them, also to our assistant coaches and our academic advisors, because we do have study hall, we do have academic advisors and our tutors that help our guys out. So we get a lot of help here at Robert Morris University, and professors do a great job of preparing our guys and getting their minds right in the classroom.
And it's funny, I was going to ask you, do you guys have tutors specifically, that are there to help out, when the football players or, during away games, are there times where you say, okay, we practice here, but these are your study hall hours. And it seems that the dedication and diligent to that, because to be able to, have a 3.07 throughout the entire year is extremely a high accomplishment. And I think these are the accolades and these are the stories that should also get just as much airtime, if not more at times, than the athletic side.
Well, the thing I tell, if you come in here as a freshman, once you come in here, you will have 8 hours of study hall per week for an entire year. Now, that doesn't matter if your GPA goes above a 3.0 or whatever. You'll have 8 hours of study hall because, again, we want to make sure you stay within that routine and make sure you're doing what you need to do in the classroom. Now, after that year, if your GPA is above a 2.5, I know that's kind of low, but if it's above a 2.5, you no longer have study hall. But you have
Yeah.
access to study hall. You have access to tutors if you need those things. So we want to make sure our guys have all the things that they need. And Danny Bonaventure, he's our academic advisor. Danny does a great job with our guys. He's on top of them at all times. And sometimes he'll come and say, hey, coach, the guy's a freshman. He's a 4.0 student. Do we need 8 hours a week? I'm like, let's see how he does the first week, and then we'll go from there. Because, again, I want to make sure these guys understand the routine they need to have in order to maintain a high GPA. And when guys get older, and I don't tell seniors, once you become a senior, if your GPA isn't above a 2.5, I'm not going to argue with you because you've got to the point where you understand what you need to do to graduate from college. So let's
Yeah.
make sure we get our degree. And the positive thing, we don't have, there's a few guys on our team working on master's degrees. We have about, this year we probably have about 3 or 4 guys working for master's degrees that have been here and have busted their behind and put themselves in that position. So our guys do a great job in the classroom. The young man I was mentioning earlier, Jamar Shagab, he's already worked on one master's, and now he's in the process of working on a master's certificate. So he's always, he's to the grind. He's a 3.3, 3.4 student, something like that when he graduated. So that's
That's
one thing
amazing.
we push our guys to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do in the classroom. Myself, the coaches, the academic advisors, and these professors here at Robert Morris University.
And that's amazing. And I want to shout out Noah Robinson. He said, "Look good to play good, coach."
Yeah, Noah's always saying something crazy, but I always tell people this: you can do that when you're good, and that's
Right.
what it boils down.
And
Noah Robinson,
and
Noah
Noah's
Robinson
a
put himself to
dog.
be good. Yeah.
Noah, shout out to Noah, is definitely a dog wide
and
receiver.
and I'll be honest with you, the other thing I do pitch that I don't know if other head coaches do this or not, but it's important to me. Whenever our guys' midterm grade comes in, depending on where they are midterm wise, I'm meeting with every player on the team.
Mm,
Every last one of them. If they're doing great in the classroom, hey guys, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. I love you. Let's bust out behind. Continue to stay that way. If you're not doing a great job, hey, what's going on? Let's pick this up. Put ourselves in the right position. I love you. Let's make sure we don't fail in the classes. Make sure you stay on top of this. So I want to make sure I'm meeting with my guys at midterm and at the end of every semester, depending on where they are grade-wise, I'm gonna call everybody on the phone. And sometimes I'll call the guys who've transferred, especially if they do a great job. Because if you're transferring, you got to have your grades where you need to have them at in order to get
right.
it done. So I'll call all those guys, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do in the classroom, and thank them for what they did, for busting their behinds in the classroom. And guys that didn't do so well, okay, what are we going to do to turn this around?
Right.
We need to put you in summer school. What do we need to do to get you back on the right track? So I think the young men appreciate that.
And it goes back to, I know, it's kind of like a pause in football. We're talking scholars, which I think is more important than the athletic side, because if you're not a scholar and if you don't have the grades, you can't play the athletic side anyways. Right.
Absolutely.
So they both go hand in hand. One can't do well without the other in regards to being an athlete and having to be a student first. But something that you said, Coach, and you spoke about this before, you highlight that you don't have, any biological children, but the investment that you put into your players, the care, right, the attentiveness,
Mm-hmm.
the awareness, the accountability that you hold them to be accountable, the
Right.
acknowledgement of, those are all of the qualities of a great coach, a great mentor, and a great father. And Robert Morris University players, they have all of that, but then at the end of the day, they still have the coach, right? And the balance is something that it doesn't seem hard for you. And then your players gravitate to it, they receive it, and they're open to the challenge. It speaks monumental of you, your leadership, and your coaches and the coaching staff as well.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, Fitz. I'm humbled by that, and I really do appreciate it. And thank you very much. And when I got into coaching, that was truly my idea of coaching more than anything else. Is I want to make sure that we're coaching and building and getting the entire man better. It's not just
Yes.
about the football aspect of it. The thing that bothers me about a lot of coaches, and I can't read their minds. I don't know if it's important to them or not. So many coaches want to get you on the field, and they're going to
Yeah.
do everything they can to get you on the field. I've been around some head coaches who don't even know if you're not a player, quote unquote, a player, if you're a walk on or whatever, they don't even know those guys' names. Well, I make sure I know everyone's name. That's why I meet with everybody midterm. I do those things because it's important to me to build up the man, not just build up the athlete. And like I said, I've been around too many coaches where football is so important and winning so important, they forget about the person. And to me, you have to
Absolutely.
learn how to separate performance from
Yeah.
personal. What they do on the field, has nothing to do with the person that they are. So you have to separate performance from person, and those things are extremely important. And I try to take advantage of those things with these young men as much as I can. And again, do I reach all of them? Probably not. But that's not the point. The point isn't to reach all of them. The point is to try to teach them all in the same way. Try to help
Right.
them understand the importance of life. Try to help them understand that the things that you do on the football field are a direct correlation of how you can be in life. If you're on the football field and you're determined, if you're disciplined, if you're dedicated, if you're diligent, if you're trustworthy, if you're honest, all those things carry over to real life. So when we talk about building better men, better husbands, and better fathers by using football as a tool to do those
Yeah.
things, that's what we're talking about. Because once young men understand the same tools that are making them better in football will also make them better in life in every aspect of it, being a better man, better husband, a better father, those things become extremely important.
Coach, I want to ask you a question. And I don't think I've ever asked any coach that I've spoken with about this question. When it comes to off the field, and you see how I think last year it was quite a few players who got caught up in off the field issues.
Mm-hmm.
When those things take place nationally, is that something that you speak with your players about? Do you use these moments? I don't want to say as an example, but necessarily as an example of how easy it is to get caught up in anything off the field when it's not in lieu of the right, right intentions, or even if it may be accusational, it could be true, but the how easy it is for them to get caught up in these situations, and scholarships, academics, athletics, all of that easily can be taken away from them.
I use it as teachable moments. But the thing I talk to our guys about year round, when you talk about better men, better husbands, and better fathers, and I constantly tell my guys, when our players get here at Robert Morris University, you'll hear a lot of coaches say, "Man, we got some great kids. These kids are unbelievable." These kids, I never call them kids anymore. Once they get here, they're young men because of the reason of what you just said. And you got to help these young men understand that you're over 18. The things you did before you turned 18, you can't do those things anymore. When you go home, you got to be mind conscious of who you're with, of where you're going, of who you're hanging with, of the young ladies that you're talking to, the young men you're hanging out with. You got to be mindful of those things when you're doing it. So I'm constantly trying to put life lessons into these guys and helping them understand that the reason I call you a young man, because if you do this now, if you get caught with this, this happens, you're no longer a kid anymore, because they're not going to treat you like a kid. And no one's going to call you a kid anymore. They're going to lock you up like a grown man. And that's
Yeah.
what you have to understand. So I try to make them understand that whatever you're about to do, if it's not contributing to you becoming a better man, a better husband, and a better father, walk away from it. I always tell, in May of 96, I've told you this before, Chris, when I gave my life to Christ, before I gave my life to Christ, I would feel a certain way. I would act off of those feelings, and I would think about the consequences later on.
Yeah.
And once I gave my life to Christ, now I think about all the things that could happen, the consequences that could happen. Then I act, and then I feel a whole lot better. So I'm constantly telling our guys, hey, man, stop feeling, then acting, then thinking, and let's think, act, and feel, and make sure those things are important.
When you talk about discussing the importance of the company you keep, that's something that our parents have always told us, right? you know
Mm-hmm.
um Whether it's your intentions or not, the company you keep puts an identity on you that may not be of you, but because you hang with this crowd, that then becomes your identity. And we talk about the choices that we make, and the choices that are how we involve ourselves when it becomes other friends, because that's our choice. And when it comes to choice, also social media, when it comes to, because we're living a social media world,
Right.
everything is driven by social media, where you got players who's upset with their schools and they'll unfollow them, or
Mm-hmm.
they'll take them off their name, or they'll scrub their IG of all of the photos. How do you handle those small distractions if it was to occur in your locker room?
I, you know, the one thing I think that's important is vetting during the recruiting process. You want to make sure, and there's no way to, there's not 100% on anything when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to anything, but you want to try to vet as much as you can. So as we're bringing recruits in here and our guys are getting around them,
Right.
prime example, we brought a young man in, and he was on, one of our host players had him, one of our guys took him out with him, and the young man started talking about drugs, talking about other stuff. I got a text that night, Coach, don't want him here. He don't need to be here. So it's important for our players to vet as much as it is for us to vet, because when we're preaching those things, hey man, watch who you're with when you go home. Watch who you're with when you're hanging out with. And I'm not telling you not to hang out with your friends, but make your friends understand that you hung out with in high school. Hey man, we can't do those things I used to do because I can't do them. So if you choose to do those things, then I'm gonna have to go hang out with someone else. I'm gonna have to be with another crowd because I can't put myself in that position because, like I've told you before, gangsters don't do homework. So that's what we have to understand more than anything else. You're in college. So even if you had, let's say you did have a bad life, you had a bad situation, well, now you've put yourself in a great situation.
Yeah.
You've gotten yourself a scholarship. If you're in one of these bigger schools, you've gotten yourself an NIL deal. You've put yourself in a great situation to walk away from the things you used to do. I'm not telling you to walk away from the people, but the people that you're with don't want to walk away from those things, then you need to walk away from those people. And you got to
Yeah.
be able to do that. Coach Holder, our offensive line coach, says is great all the time. Two things in life are free: air and choices. So let's make sure you're making the right choices when it comes to things like that and doing the things you're supposed to do. Because we're going to preach it and preach it and preach it as coaches and try to teach it as much as we can. But unless you're hearing what we're saying, not listening and waiting for your turn to talk, unless you are hearing what we're saying, it's not
Yeah.
going to resonate the way it needs to resonate.
So when you talk about choices and your students, like I said, 3.07 for the entire team is
Yes.
remarkable. But not only in the classroom and on the field, but your team and your staff is also active off the field,
Mm-hmm.
outside of Robert Morris. And I want to play a video for you. I'm gonna pull this off screen. I want the video to play right. And it's basically how I spoke of earlier, the same opportunity my nephew had at playing in DeMar Hamlin's Chasing M's All Star game back home in Pittsburgh. You guys also participated in a DeMar Hamlin event geared for the youth. And I want
Mm-hmm.
to play that video because I think a lot of times such videos they're only stuck on Instagram or Facebook or X, right? And they're not able or they're not put out there publicly for the world to see on a screen which says, listen, we're more than athletes, we're more than scholars. We're great human beings as well. We care about our community and we care about the ones that's coming up after us. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. Stage coach, when you see your student athletes out there interacting with the community and something as large as that, and I think this was actually DeMar Hamlin and Aaron Donald um, giving back to the youth. Well, Aaron had his own A99
Mm-hmm.
as well. But when you see that and you see your players participating in it, how does that make you feel as a coach?
Uh, Joyful. It's probably the best word to use more than anything else. When I came back, because unfortunately last week I had a funeral I had to attend on my wife's side of the family. But when I came back and that Friday, I was able to see they played it on the news with our guys out there with those young kids and having a great time, and our young men showing them how to play football. And then on that Saturday, like you said, they went to Aaron Donald's camp and did the exact same thing. And I attribute everything that we're doing community wise to Coach Tyler.
Hmm.
Coach Tyler's from Pittsburgh, and Coach Tyler makes sure our guys are getting out and doing these things. They're doing softball games. We did something, myself and a couple of the coaches did like a flag football game. We went out and talked to the parents. So I want us to do more community stuff. I don't think we do enough. I want us to be more visible, especially during the off season. But, we're trying to get out there. But I'm joyful when I see our guys out there because, again, they're helping those young people grow and helping those young people have a great time while learning the game of football. Again, now you're teaching young kids how to be better men, better husbands, and better fathers, or better women and better young ladies. So,
What a tremendous story is it of DeMar Hamlin, man. Shout out to D Ham straight out of Pittsburgh, 412, stand up. But when you see, I always got to shout out the hometown.
absolutely, absolutely.
But 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 his story is simply remarkable, right? Because you take his injury, and you take what he went through, that the ordeal he went through on that field that day against the Bengals, and I wonder if me mentally as a player, like, do I come back after that, right? And I love his grind, his demeanor. He doesn't want your pity. He doesn't want your sympathy. He just wants to get better. But he has always been about the community. He always gives back to the McKees Rocks area, and it'd be remiss to not give him his flowers, because he's done a lot for that community, more than people will ever know.
You know what? I'm like you. To watch him on that football field again, you got to be in awe of what he's able to do back on
Yeah,
that football field. Because not just what he did as a football player, but as a man. I mean, to get up out of that bed and to walk again and be able to do those things, just everyday life things. I'm sure he feels more blessed than anyone, to say the least. And to see him do what he loves to do, not just in
yeah.
helping the community, but also playing the game of football and having an opportunity to give back the way he gives back. I think he's an outstanding young man.
And I want to end on a note not Robert Morris related. I want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
Coach Mike Tomlin was extended his 3-year contract, right?
Yep.
There are some people who are for it, and there's a lot of people who are against it. And and I think what I found crazy, I was leaving a Stephen Cowherd, and he basically was like, if the Eagles can get rid of Andy Reid, if the Patriots can get rid of Belichick, basically what's the intent of holding on to a coach like Mike Tomlin?
I don't know. 17 years, never had him a losing record. I don't know. Super Bowl win. I don't know. People in the community, he does a lot of great things in the community for Pittsburgh. I don't know. Pittsburgh just doesn't fire coaches. Pittsburgh believes in family. Pittsburgh believes in unity. Pittsburgh believes in a strong bond with the community. I'm confused about why people think he shouldn't be here. But again, I'll put it to you this way: if Mike Tomlin was to be fired,
Mm.
just like Andy Reid, he'd
So
be
many
picked
other
up tomorrow.
teams. So many
I mean,
teams. Yeah.
you can say it 1,000 times. I mean, what Mike Tomlin has done as a coach and as a person, and what he does in the community, it's unmistakable. He's an outstanding coach, an outstanding man, an outstanding person, and I think he does exactly what he's supposed to do on the football field. No one's ever going to say, yeah, he needs to be here. No one will say he this and that. But the bottom line is, there's only been one coach, now two coaches that have won 3 or 4 Super Bowls at one place. Other than that, everybody else is trying to win a Super Bowl. There's only be one Super Bowl winner every year. But
Right.
no one can say for 17 straight years they had a non-losing season as a head coach. No coach can say
Absolutely.
that, but one, Mike Tomlin. So again, I'm not arguing with anybody about whether he should be here, shouldn't be here. All I'm saying is I think he's a great football coach.
And I agree. And I find it strange that he's never won Coach of the Year, but that's a whole nother conversation,
Yeah,
for another platform. But, Coach, Utah State is on the clock. That
they
is the
are.
first game of the season. We
They
are
are.
quickly approaching the smell of that July, August grass. How excited are you to get things ready to really start ramping back up?
Every morning I walk into the office, I'm watching film. I'm watching film now. I know that's why I'm watching film of the game. So it's like 70 something days away. And I'm so excited about it. It's the craziest thing. But can't wait for it to happen. Can't wait, like you said, to smell that grass, to smell that turf, should I say, those little rubber pellets that are burning in the sun. You can't wait to smell those things and get excited about it. And you got the cleats and you hear the smashing of the pads and the clinking of the helmets and all those things get excited. You hear those cleats on the ground as they're coming down the stairs, click, click, click. Those are the things you get excited about. And I always tell, this is a privilege what I'm doing. I am so grateful for the job that I have. I understand that it's a privilege for me to be doing something that I've been doing since I was 8 years old. And I understand the blessing that God has given me.
Coach Bernard Clark Jr., Robert Morris University, through
Yes,
the
sir.
eye of the tiger, the
Through the
Colonials is
Let's make it
going
happen.
down. Push and
Let's
pull.
go, Bobby Bo!
I'm your host, Pitts from Bowie TV, Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone. It's another day through the eye of the tiger. Get ready. We about to come back 2 days a week. Colonial football, Bobby Moe.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.